maybe reseat Florence because she's in the third row, and I don't want her there. I want her closer to the front. So
Can she sit?
we're just gonna maybe move her.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. There we go. We're about ready to start this wonderful, wonderful event of this Wooshkeetaan Totem going up, and I'm going to be the moderator. And what I would like to do is ask Paul Marks to come up and do a prayer.
I just wanted one of our clan leaders to stand with me, and Jackie, my sister Florence, if she wants to join us. Rosita's grandkids. There's Lukwakari. Yeah. We never stood alone whenever we're called upon to do something, because in ourselves we're not complete. But when we have our brothers and sisters standing next to us, then we are stronger. And also then you can see and identify the family of Lukwakari. Times like this, I think of my clan leader, Austin Hammond. And when I start thinking about my brother Nathan, for some reason I always want to call him Austin. But see, that's how powerful someone's teaching does to you, that you never forget them. You never forget where you come from. Eyaa Jasachtuasigu Akwaka Chukanedi Achishas Chukansha Achish Tlaghas Chukagwantan Achlil Kohas Shangukedi Achlil Kohas Yat Atsu Achtwasigu Yisaku Wooshkeetaan Akkankiyan Yach Ish to Dlag Owashayan Wooshkeetaan Takanak Hastunet Sitien Te Kwedi Achtakanuku. In reference to those clans, they are my relatives. And you always identify who your relatives are. Then others, and once you start it, continue to do so. that it builds a relationship to those people. I feel we need to begin to understand and begin to identify who we're related to. Because in our culture, our ancestors would say we never talked badly about those that were connected to us in our roots. Achkawak tawasigu isaku. Gunal chisha de kian kau. Wasayik yayigi hajiti atecha. Isaku ha yejine. Tu isaku adusa hatu wugutra. Wushtin yejikachtune. Hatuasigu hait yideshekwan. Tusakhan yewa wutuasigu ka wushtin gachtuskhan. Tu wushtin jin gachtushatra. Agawe kekok wasa hayejene kekoksati ka. Iksakhan hadikian kau usiku chatlak hakaye nete iltuyak kahego ka. Tu wasa hayejeneksati haiti deshinuchka. Yewech tuasigu ikachtugag yekutichai sasaitunach. Yewa. Amen. Cheers, lekakadi. Yewa.
I would like to ask Rosita Worrell.
I am Kahani and Yadeklatzak from the Thunderbird clan and the House Lord from the Sun in Klakwan. And I am very proud to be a grandchild of the Sukachadi. Gunaschi Shanyat Kusani. Thank you, most noble and honorable people. Thank you to our city and state officials who made this possible. Thank you to all the community members who have continued to support Native culture and arts. And thank you to our Native community for sharing the wealth of our culture. Shango Kedi, Kagwantan, Tekwedi, Tsakwedi, Daklawedi, Dakdaintan, Deshitan, Suknakhadi, Kiksadi, Lukachadi, and Slinedi, and to our great Wooshkeetan, and also to our brothers and sisters, the Haida and the Tsimshian, and to our Gledka brothers and sisters. You honor us all with your presence. And if I may, I would like to offer the words spoken by our late clan leader, Kingaste, David Katsik, a great and honorable leader of the Tlingit people. Kingaste speaks in eloquent oratory about our great master artist, Yéil Yádi Nathan Jackson, the source of his artistic creativity. And these are the words of our great clan leader. Thank you for wanting to view the work of this grandfather of mine, Nathan Jackson, Please stand, Nathan. In this way that a creativity comes through him, the way his work shines with brilliance, it is just as if the ancestors have been present in his mind. This is why you see such brilliance in his work. It seems just as though the spirits of the ancestors have been communicating with him when he would begin working on whatever he was instructed to create. That is why it is so beautiful when he works with people's sacred imagery. It is just as if the ancestors had walked into his mind. How strong it is. That is why the ancient people would say, it is resounding. That is how we are. That is how we are. It is within us. It is within us. The ancestors, their wisdom and their strength are within us. Gunnachish to the Sinedi. Gunnachish to the Wooshkeetaan for allowing us to share in this momentous day and event. Gunnachish.
So our next person that's going to come up forth to speak will be the city/state opening and the transfer to the traditional ceremony. And I would be honored to have Beth Weldon, Mayor of Juneau, come forth.
Thank you, Ms. Houston, and I really like your new blanket. Good afternoon. My heart is full seeing everyone here and knowing that we are all gathered together today in a celebration of a very happy event, especially since it looks like spring will be a couple weeks away. I have the good fortune today for not only being part of this ceremony, but to thank many people who were instrumental in creating the Wooshkeetaan Kootéeyaa, hopefully I'm saying that right, some 40 years ago, and those who helped to bring us here where we are today, at the re-raising of a beautiful and now historical totem pole. I would like to thank the Wooshkeetan and the state of Alaska for partnering with the city and borough of Juneau to find a new home for and to re-raise the Wooshkeetaan Kootéeyaa, or totem pole. And I apologize, I just have to read a lot of names from here out. I'd like to acknowledge the Centennial Committee who helped select which pieces of art would be funded for the Centennial celebration way back in 1980. Chair Ginny Chitwood, Vice Chair Hugh McCauley, Secretary Vanita Hildebrand, Treasurer Marilyn Frey-Mueller, Carolyn Acita, Farrell Campbell, Trevor Davis, Phyllis DeMuth, Jeff Morrison, Amos Wallace, and Project Coordinator Ann Foster. I'd also like to recognize and thank the Totem Pole Subcommittee, which was responsible for consulting with the Juneau Tlingit community, securing funding, selecting a carver, and following the project to completion. Jeff Morrison, Joe Wilson, Dina Hobson, and Diane LaRouche. Special thanks to KDO, Betsy Sims with Studio A, Michael Penn, and the rest of the media here today. In addition, I'd like to thank the many contractors and funders involved in the project who are too numerous to mention, but include the Juneau Rotary Club, the museum's Alaska Collections Management Grant, which is supported by the Rasmussen Foundation, the Friends of the Juneau-Douglas City Museum, the Juneau Community Foundation's Blackwell Fund, and the in-kind labor from AEL&P, who just finished their work just a moment ago. Steve Brown, one of the artists that worked on the pole, asked me to share these words, so these are in his words. Gunal Chish, many thanks to all those whose efforts have resulted in today's ceremony. This is a wonderful site for this pole to live on in safety out of the Juneau weather. My sincere thanks go to Nathan for the privilege of working with him on this project back in 1980. It was the first of a string of poles we worked on together, including another in Juneau, now at the high school, 2 in Sitka National Historical Park, and 2 in the Sealaska building. It was good fun working with Nathan and talking with the Sealaska workers who would stop by to see how we were doing along the way. We warily watched the snow working its way down the slopes of Mount Juneau and managed to finish the carving in early November before the snow joined the Taku winds in blowing us off the work site. Thanks again to everyone who helped make this experience possible. Again, those were the words of Steve Brown. The Wooshkeetaan Kootéeyaa, along with his partner, the Kootéeyaa, were commissioned as part of the Juneau's 1980 Centennial Year celebrations. They were created to honor Tlingit contributions to local history. Both totem poles stood in front of the Centennial Hall before being moved for preservation reasons. The Kootéeyaa is now on display in the Juneau-Douglas High School, Yadat Koote. Prior to today's re-raising of the Wooshkeetaan Kootéeyaa, it had been in storage since 2016. I am so thankful to have the Wooshkeetaan Kootéeyaa once again in a place of honor among us. Gunul Shish, thank you to all who have made this happy day possible.
Okay, the next person, I haven't met this one, but his name is Rex Rock. There you are.
Yes, I am. Good afternoon. Uvlulotuk. Good afternoon. I am a policy advisor for Governor Dunleavy, but I'd like to first and foremost to the Akwaan people, on behalf of the governor, I'm honored to be here and thank you for allowing me to be a part of the ceremony. And you can definitely rest assured there will be no 50-50 PFD talks on here. So Senator Keel, you can rest assured. So your culture and your traditions are definitely fascinating. I'm still learning the clans. So by being a part of Governor Dunleavy's office, it's allowed me to generate new relationships and learn to, I guess, respect and to see all of the trials and tribulations that everybody has kind of gone through in their own, which we've gone through up in the North Slope as well. And it's still understanding like the totem poles and whatnot. But it's great that this 40-foot Wooshkeetan totem pole is going to go on and live on for many years to come. And that way, you know, like my little guys and maybe their grandkids or so on and so forth, they can kind of hear and understand what the mayor had talked about before is all of the trials that they had to go through and getting blown off from being able to finish and work with certain things. But it started, I guess, all the way from '82 and out to 2022. So that's amazing. And again, thank you to Akwaan for allowing me to be here. It's definitely humbling, and I am truly honored. Thank you.
He's taller than I am. It made me cross-eyed. Okay, we'll do the welcome, and I would like to ask the Wooshkeetan to come forth. And James Jack was not able to make it today, and I believe Paul was talking in his place. Am I correct? Okay, got it. And Dinah, Naomi, Kathleen, and other Wooshkeetans, please come forward and stand with one another.
I wanted my clan brother back here, Charlie. His back's bothering him. And so he's a child of a Wooshkeetan. In talking with James Jack last night, he was very happy that this was happening, that the totem pole was going to be recognized, and that that would give honor to the Wooshkeetan and honor to the fathers of the Wooshkeetan, which I believe is a clean AD that's on that totem pole also. But I just wanted to, I know I talked with him at length last night and shared many things, and so I'm sorry he wasn't able to be here today, but his heart and spirit is here. So thank you very much, Gunchish.
What did I do with my papers? The program? I can't see it. So it'll be Dinah.
Gunashish. Gunashish, Yéil Dog Salmon, for speaking and singing on your ha'ani. Gunashish Unyat Kusani. Gunashish to all the Raven clans that are here present today to witness this important event. Slanghit Chenach Nekikla Yuchaduasak. Gleedka Chenach Dinah Hobson Yuchaduasak. Wooshkeetaan Ayachat Nuhit Yedach Yéil Yádi An Chahit Yedach Angun Ach Ish. I just want to say that I come from New Hit. New Hit people brought out their best beadwork, a blanket, a tooth, a shark on it, to give you hope, hold you up, especially the dog salmon people. Gunashish for all of your wonderful help, Fran, and your family for teaching us many different things that we didn't know. So Gunashish, thank you. All over.
Gunakchish. Please forgive me for I'm still learning, and I'm going to introduce myself. And I feel like I'm a beginner, but I feel very honored to be practicing, and that it is available, and that it isn't too late. So Gunakchish. Kase yuchat duasak. Dao da'u yuchat duasak. Ch'ak nachat city. Wooshkeetaan nachat city. Tus hit dach ayachat. Da kanach away ha ani. Dak den tan yadi ayachat. My name is Naomi Michelson, and my Tlingit name is Kase and Dowda'u. I am Eagle from the Shark House, Wooshkeetan from Berners Bay. And my father's people are Dukdane Tan from Huna. So welcome. It's so wonderful to be here, and also to be with my family. And I'm going to let my cousin introduce herself, and then I'll speak again. Okay.
Ganesh Chish. My name is Kathleen. My Tlingit name is La'e. I am from the Wooshkeetan of Berners Bay, from the Tus Hit House. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Welcome, my family. Ganesh Chish for standing. You give me strength. Ganesh Chish for everyone here.
I wanted to mention thanks to so many people, and I think they've been mentioned, but all of the people here at the museum, the city, Sealaska Heritage, also my father's people, all of the Raven family, the beautiful Ravens, my opposites. Ichsikhan, love you all. I wanted to also say that also Marie Olson, our Wooshkeetan elder, and Mike Tagaban also send their love. They couldn't be here today, and prayers for all of our loved ones that are not feeling well. This has been a time of a lot of change and challenges, and really a lot of celebration too, and a reflection. And I like to think of this time as a time of hope. The acronym HOPE is honoring our place on earth. And as Rosita spoke about how beautiful it is that we have our ancestors, this land, and this beautiful place that we live, our families. I came up with one of my grandmother friends, the 4 R's, but I kind of added one, so maybe 5. And I think about this time that we're in as a time to reconnect. So reconnecting, we're getting back together. We're celebrating. We've missed each other. And what a great year this is going to be. And this is a wonderful gathering and ceremony to start off our Tlingit New Year with our herring coming up, and celebration this year, all of the wonderful things going on in Juneau, that I just wanted to honor the beautiful work that's really historic. And watching from Ketchikan, where I live, in Sonyaquan and Tontaquan land, I am in awe and inspired by all of the vibrance and the amazing efforts that are being done in this community with the Sealaska Heritage Institute, the new art centers, the schools. I was able to watch children at the schools singing and dancing and speaking Tlingit, responding to songs that were shared to them, and it was so amazing. The efforts that are being done to end violence. So violence prevention, Juneau is a leader with Ha Tuchlachish, really doing wonderful work to help better care of our people and ourselves. And just so many other amazing things. I think there's even a Tlingit violin class. So just a lot of really wonderful things with the language, with the culture and the arts. And so all of our people, I know Florence can do 3 Zooms at a time, speaking and teaching the language. And as Aunt Fran mentioned, we're instead of baby boomers, we've become baby zoomers. So, but back to the R's, the reconnecting, getting back together, also releasing. What did we learn? What did we learn during this time, and what are we going to let go? As Kingesti says, Januk, release it, let it go. What are some things that maybe we can let go of and move, so we can move forward together? Relations, strengthen each other, strengthen our relations with ourselves, with each other, with this land. We have everything that we need here. The mountains never forget, and this place that we live in is the most beautiful. And we do have everything we need, our foods, our medicines, each other, and rebuilding. We are rebuilding. What are we going to do to recreate? And I see so much of that already happening here in Juneau with all of your effort. And so to honor all of you by saying what a wonderful job you've been doing, but also the tough job that we have for the future for our grandchildren. And as a grandmother, I feel like it's my biggest responsibility, and that we really need each other. We can't do this alone. And so it was a huge effort to get to this point where the pole is raised. I was able to, some of us were able to see the amazing journey the pole took from Thane here, and then also today, having the pole put up and erect today. The last one is remembering our loved ones, our ancestors, our grandchildren, and remembering who we are. And we are waking up. We're waking up. And what a beautiful time it is to be here. And I'm looking here at Nathan, and I just wanted to also say Gunakshish, Echsikhan. Thank you for such a wonderful, amazing legacy and work that you have done and continue to do. And I was had the honor to be in one of his classes a couple months ago, and he stood up and was carving, and he kept going on for over a couple hours, I think. So you have a lot of energy, and I'm so glad that you're here with us today. Gunakshish. And I can't say enough about Nico and Beth and the people at the museum who've worked tirelessly for this Wooshkeetaan pole to go up, and also for the Funter Bay, that's also involving Wooshkeetaan lands. And so I know you work so hard, and so we really appreciate you, and she's become a part of our family over this time. So Rosita, thank you for your words this morning, earlier this afternoon. Powerful, yeah. I always say, Uncle Bob, thank you for traveling here. And all of the Hlinedi, all the Raven families, thank you for taking the time to be with us today during this celebration. Gunakshish.
Okay, I'll be speaking next, but I'll also ask for Bob Sam to come up and Ed Coons, and for the Yéil response. I would like to mention that with the Wooshkeetan totem finally finding its home, that'll be here for quite some time. I did get the phone call at one time to state that the Wooshkeetan totem needed to be raised. And I listened to Nico, where is she? Oh, there she is. She's taller than me and I can't find her. But she gave me a call to tell me about the Wooshkeetan totem. And I thought it was destroyed, through the weather. And I was happy to hear that it was sitting in a warehouse at the time. And the plan for putting the totem here in the State Office Building on the 8th floor. So when I talked with her, I told her, what I'll do is I'll let the Wooshkeetan family know. I can't make no decisions on that. And this is where we're at now. My Tlingit name is Sekuni, Raven Moiety. From the Yaktahit, the Dipper House, Yéil. And I know that it was a long process in trying to get this together, but we had fun doing it and meeting and agreements on what needed to be done, and it turned out fairly well. Quite pleased with it. And AEL and P, they're no longer here, but they did a fantastic job and took care of the Wooshkeetan totem as it was being raised. They treated it like it was an egg. They were very gentle with it when they were raising it. So it was very, very quite interesting in how they did that. I did tell my mother, Rosa Miller, about this, and she was happy that the Wooshkeetan totem has a home now. And so I just wanted to thank everyone that's here and for the speakers that have been before me. Gunakshish for coming forward and speaking in regards to this event. And the Wooshkeetan family, wow, I got a big family now. The family's getting bigger. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And good to see you, Mary. Let's see who else I haven't seen for quite some time. Carolyn, haven't seen you for a while. Jean. Let's see. Leona, she's sitting over there on her cell phone. So I just want to thank everybody for being here, and I'm glad that you're here to witness and be here for the ceremony. So Gunakshish. Okay, Bob.
Good afternoon. Welcome to a wonderful event. It's appropriate that I introduce myself first to make myself feel a little more comfortable and relaxed. The language is such a beautiful language. It's pleasing to listen to fluent speakers and people who are so comfortable speaking Tlingit. It took me a lifetime to even remember certain words, but I will do my best. Shagana stayu chatuasalk. Plinedi ayachat. Ka guantan yadi. Dach loedi dachgunk. Tlinket ani ayachat. Ak kwan ayachat. At this time, I want my brothers to come up and stand by me. I grew up with these men, and we shared a lot together in our lifetime. And we came back to our culture together as well. And they influenced my life. And I'm proud to stand by them. I'm proud to stand by my brother Ed Coombs. When I was a very small child, when I was born, my mother wanted to give me to Ed's family. So Ed is my true brother. And I'm proud to stand by him. I'm also proud to stand by my brother Everett Deshitan, and proud of my Haida brother. We're here to uphold the Wooshkeetan, to hold you up. Just like the totem pole. This morning, we were here this morning, and we used our spirit to lift up the totem pole for the Wooshkeetan, to give them support. For me, I would like to share some personal times that I've had with George Jim. 1982, I first stopped alcohol and drugs. And I was invited to Yangon to meet George Jim. He wanted to talk to me about sobriety and share cultural knowledge. And what he shared kept me sober all the way up to today. I am a grandchild of the Yéil. And through the Yéil, I began to meet my Yangon relatives. My uncle, Matthew Fred, who introduced me to my opposites, the Wooshkeetan. I even participated in a week with George Jim, and he put me in charge of the kitchen. At the time, I did not know the Wooshkeetan connection to the Yéil, but he knew. We became very close friends, and we talked. Later on, he passed away. And I brought him back from Sitka to Yangon at the request of his family, because I was his opposite tribe, his outer shell. I also became very close friends with Charlie Jim. When he passed away, he became a very strong Christian man. And I also brought him back to Yangon and buried him as well. And back in 2000, there was an individual in a TB sanitarium who was related to George Jim as well. So we brought him back to Yangon, and I was his opposite. This is a duty in service of an outer shell, service work. You serve your opposites. You uphold them, their family. So I am very honored when I heard about this totem pole for George Jim. I had to come. He is a dear, respected elder. And Yaanashtúk Juneau Museum, Yaanashtúk, see Alaska, Yaanashtúk, the state of Alaska. I want to mention this robe I am wearing. I decided to bring this robe. This is not an ordinary robe. This robe once belonged to the Speaker of the House, Joe Hayes. I first met him in the early 70s in Fairbanks. I have a lot of respect for him. This robe was presented to him in Sitka, and it's a very old style robe with a raven design. So in this way, Speaker of the House Joe Hayes is with us today. Yaanashtúk, to the non-native people, we are here in peace to get to know each other. What a wonderful thing happening today when one culture meets another and we get to know each other. We set aside hard feelings and we grow and we forgive. If there's anyone in here that I offended, please forgive me. Let's walk out of here in peace and forgiveness. Let's set aside our hard feelings. Let's go back to our old way of being Tlingit, where our language is love. Our language is forgiveness. Our culture is peace. No longer should we say bad things to each other. Remember this? Remember this, what an uncle would tell you? Don't say anything bad about anyone because you don't know if they're your own family. So that's what I'm going to walk out of here today. Family is the most important thing. More important than job, more important than career, more important than money. It's family. It's the Tlingit relationship to the Wooshkeetan. It's the Yéil. There was a time when all ravens were one raven. We called it Yéil, one raven. At one time we were one. So be careful how we talk to each other. Yaanashtúk for coming. I'm a very quiet man and I don't know when to quit, so I better quit now. Otherwise, I'll be here till 8 o'clock. So, Yaanashtúk, thank you. The next speaker is Eddie Coons.
Look na chali, hat eyaa. Achish has, Achlicha has, Achkaniyan, Kagmantan. Achlicha has, Keith Kwan, Declarady, Zakwady, Nadia, Tiknachadi. Achadiyan, Shadkukadi. Achadiyan, Wooshkeetaan, Kootéeyaa. I would like to thank the Wooshkeetaan for inviting the co-host for the rededication of the Wooshkeetan pole. It's such an important event. My wife and I, anytime there was a dedication or a rededication of a pole, we went. Sitka, Huna, Kawak, Belakatla, Yukon Territory. It's such a wonderful display that you honor your father and your mother, and you show your love for each other. Achtawasigu, Gulchish, Achait, Yisaachi.
It makes me look cross-eyed every day because it's way up here. I think I'm shrinking. Ah, shucks. So our next part of the agenda, I would like to have to acknowledge Nathan Jackson, Adi, and also have Naomi come forth. And while they're working their way up here, when this totem was sitting at the warehouse, there was one thing I noticed what I heard right off the bat, and I had no idea. And I'm very proud to say that along with George Jim on decision on what needed to be on this Wooshkeetaan totem, I was proud to hear that my grandmother, Bessie Visaya, was part of that too. And I was really surprised, so that made me happy. So Nathan, you have the floor.
Has Kagwantan to Has Daklawedi Achdarkanuku Wooshkeetaan. You know, when I first got started by doing carving, before that time I was raised as a fisherman, and I always wanted to be a captain of my own boat. And it was a way of life, because that's what I was raised as. My great uncle, Jack David, took me in, and I thought I'd be a fisherman. That was my heart's desire. I mentioned Kagwantan, and there was a fellow by the name of Ted Lawrence. His Tlingit name was Stayat. And he challenged me when I was a boy to carve a little totem pole that big. And I thought, how is a guy gonna make a living like this? I mean, what can you sell these little things for? Then there was another fellow, Jim Marks. And Jim, I noticed that when I got out of the Army, that he was dressed pretty well. He had high-class shirts, high-class pants, ironed pretty well. He just dressed up real nice. And it was wintertime when you are not fishing. And he sold totem poles about yay big. And that's the reason why, because he was brought up in a carving family. Jim Marks all the family carved. And so there were other things aside of that the Marks family called Marks Trail that did the dancing. And I'm not too sure, because when Jack David had a dance making a little bit of money for the Alaska Native Brotherhood and Sisterhood, that they did the dance in Haines. I thought, wow. And I got to thinking about that because I was young and I could move and I could dance. But most of the things that I've seen in regard to dancing, one of those fellows was George Jim. When they had the pole raising and cake, the largest pole here in southeastern Alaska, he was dancing. I couldn't believe it. I kept thinking, boy, he must have been something else when he was a young man. And now I'm getting to be a little bit older, and I realize that, hey, time is short, and you can't really do as much as you used to do. That's normal. But one of the things that I did with the Wooshkeetaan pole, so that you know that I went to George Jim because I was asked to, because he had history. And so he wanted a lot of figures on this totem pole. And I told him, I says, you're going to have to delete that because it's just too much going on. And so he picked out the top figures, the important figures that he thought. And I couldn't figure out why he wanted something of the United States. And here's the thing. They had to fill in a document, and at least if they couldn't be able to, they had to just learn how to write their name. And it was to keep from being involved with traditional ceremonies and that type of thing. And that was that time period when all the people were all older, and they picked out all the people that were involved with ceremonies and understood quite a bit about the background. And so here we are. The most important thing is identification. I felt, well, the totem pole must be an identification. It represents who we are. It represents history. And so I kind of felt like, well, when I was carving these small little tiny totem poles, I was going to learn. And one of the things that happened with me was wanting to be a fisherman. I was working on a boat, disc sanding, and all of a sudden I end up with coughing. and then with my handkerchief, while I was just sanding the hull of this boat, ended up getting pneumonia, and I coughed blood, and the doctor sent me to Mount Edgecombe thinking that I had tuberculosis. Then I saw a young fellow, he was young then, by the name of Albert Kootéeyaa, and he was in a wheelchair, and he did some beautiful drawings. I said, man, there's a lot of paper around here. I could try that. I wonder if I could be able to do that. And this was in 1962. And you know, I did a portrait, and that portrait was Jim Tagook, who was Wooshkeetan. And that was my start. After they told me after 54 days in the hospital, they told me I didn't have tuberculosis. And in the hospital, I did little miniature totem poles that I was thinking about that Ted Lawrence Stayat had done. And that was kind of the history of starting a new life, a new way, and making a living. And I noticed that fishing is very competitive, and the rules change, and we have to continue on with a new way of life. But one of the things that was important in that was I had the opportunity of being able to travel many miles to go to different museums, to look at different artifacts. And they asked me to speak. And I said, well, one thing that bothers me is, first of all, I want to thank the people that brought me here. But I said, all the artifacts that I see are things, there are some that need to be used, and it's our people that need to be able to use those artifacts. And they've been taken from here, taken from down below, taken away. And so we needed to, aside of that little document that was written, that we need to have some sort of identification. And See Alaska has been very instrumental in having a gathering where people can be able to show that they are a people. And we love each other. We care for each other. And it's so important, like Bob said, that we should not talk bad about other people. And it's mostly erasing all that thought, but try to think of good things. And so those are one of those things that I thought maybe I'd bring out a side of Ted Lawrence getting me started, and then afterwards I ended up at the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, and that was due to Carl Heinmiller starting a group called the Alaska Indian Arts Incorporated. And with that whole group, one of the things that they did was they had dances. And everybody was being able to learn the dances. And another thing happened, Tuxawedi. Dan Katzik was the one that taught the Carl Heinmiller's group to learn dances, but he made sure that he didn't teach clan songs. He taught songs that were brought from up Tislin Way, up Canada Way, and some of the songs that he sung weren't going to offend other people. And so those type of things are pretty important in what we do. And I think I was asked to go to Hazleton to teach dancing. And the only thing I could do was teach a song that was not Tlingit song. It was Ya ha hui, ya ha hui, ya ha hui, ya. That's Tsimshian. And so it was that song. And so we know those songs, we practice those songs, we adopt some of these songs. Some of it over a period of time ends up changing slightly. But one of the things that we continue doing is so important, is practicing our culture. Now, language. When Jack took me in, he thought that I knew Tlingit fully. I was adopted, and Tlingit has been very hard for me. And that's one thing. I know that there are certain things that I can be able to pick up. And when Jack spoke to me to tell me do something, he asked me to do something, and I didn't know what he was telling me. Then he made fun of me. Then he told that story, and then I felt bad about myself, because there's also one thing that happens, even in school, I kind of felt like there's a certain amount of dyslexia in this guy's brain. But aside of that, I'm glad that everybody was here, could be able to appreciate some of the things that I do with my hands, because I'm still going on doing work all the way, whether it's bracelets, whether it's whatever, and at least it's art. And so our people did quite a bit of art. And I appreciate very much Rosita, because she's set up a program, and the program amazes me because everything seems to go. I remember when the Polaroid was in, I was really excited about that. And now you can't get anything. So, the film. And so, I can't speak Tlingit, but I'm getting too carried away with my speech. And so I think I better quit. Thank you very much, Gunukchish, everybody, for coming.
Hold on, Hari. Some things we have to allow ourselves to be aware of our ancestors. Yata weha chiu yana khin. Kina haya.
Forgot about that.
This is a big story about this blanket. And when we bring out our atu, it speaks for us. Our ancestors, its history is in there. When I was in Seattle, I went to the university and I was looking at some of the biology portion of the museum. And I noticed salmon species and the prehistoric salmon. And there was one there, I said, oh wow, there's a sockeye, a red sockeye. And they were giant sockeyes then, 10,000 years ago, they said. And they grew to be 9 to 10 feet long. And this story is the one about the giant sockeye that took the young boy underwater. He bit him in the belly and took him down. And so we remember these things because of the hardship our people went through by losing our loved ones. And we miss our loved ones now, the ones that Nathan is talking about. He mentions them because he's lonesome for them, and wishing that we could have talked to them more and listened more to what they had to say to us. And so when we bring these out, they come out with us. They're here with us. Bob brought a real atu out. He said it wasn't just a regular blanket.
I think the most important thing to remember is this is our deed to school.
And so my hesitation is because, we have to be careful what we say and what we do in regards to the things Bob was talking about. That this is a family. We're all family here. We're all connected somewhere, somehow, together. Like my brother Bob was saying, long ago we were just one people. We weren't a large clans, different clans. We all have different houses. Yéil hit, Yéil kidji hit, Yéil Dechawut hit, San hit, Kauk hit, Kushta hit. This was all one family. Tlukwachadis, like here. We're all Tlukwachadi. We're related to each other closely because we come from the big house, the first house. And when it grew too big, then it got another house. When they grew too big, it got another house. So this is how this works. And so when we have a gathering like this, and what the Wooshkeetans have done for us, they invited us here. They evoked our ancestors, so we can't go away without saying anything about that. That there lift us up, our ancestors. It is them that are speaking to you. right now. Kin Kootéeyaa. This was a name that was given to me by Jenny Marks' sister, which was Austin Hammond's aunt, mother's sister. And this name came from one of her name was Jessie Casco. I believe it was her brother. And he died when he was a young boy. And so theoretically, I didn't have a history. Kin Kootéeyaa has a history now. Whoever gets my name. And at this age, you begin to think about what you're going to leave your family and who are you going to choose to take your place. These are very important because it's all about cultural continuance of our culture. I don't want to say preservation because that's putting it inside of a can and then saying, this is our culture. Or preserving our language, putting it in a book. No, we want our language to live. We want it to be taught to our children. My son and my daughter, they understand Tlingit. My son Paul, he speaks very good Tlingit, and Joseph is speaking Tlingit. Learning it from the home. They learned it at home. Their grandma would come to the house. She said she would pick them up, or she'd sit by them and talk Tlingit to them in their ear. Now that Paul speaks Tlingit very fluently, very comfortably, like Bob was saying, talking our language comfortably. And this year, I wear this year in remembrance of when we split and why we split. And I won't tell you why, but it's because of things that happened that shouldn't have happened. Ja, Wooshkeetaan Kootéeyaa, it's very sensitive. So we have to be careful with each other. And there was a lot of planning with the Wooshkeetan ladies. Many hours spent speaking and talking to get this gathering and hashing out different things that they didn't want to bring here. And so today we have a nice gathering. We have nice Tlingit men sitting here, standing here. My brother, Nathan. Other brothers, Charlie, Wooshkeetan Yéil. He's married to Wooshkeetan. His children, Wooshkeetan. To know each other's clan is very important. And the name, Jessica, how good. This is my grandparents. And we're their grandparent. Luke Nakhadi from Al-Sheikh, Gunakhuquan. Relatives, close relatives. Because we intermarried with the eagles up there in Al-Sheikh, Tekwedi, Shangukedi, Kalgwantan. We also did. Her daughter could come here too, so people can know who they are. And their dad can stand. Wooshkeetan. And the auntie? No? Grandma's over there. Grandpa. It's good for us to know each other. My granddaughter, Sailor Pearl, is a Yéil Yádi. Over here at Yéil. My other granddaughter is a Kootéeyaa Yédi, and she's Wooshkeetaan from Yakutat, from the Moon House. See how we're connected? When we started thinking about Sailor, my granddaughter, and all the different relatives it was like she was related to every community. But when you find those things out, you can walk this country with love and understanding that your ancestors were here and you have a right to be here. Totem pole, raised in 2022. Man, I remember when I was in grade school and I was looking at doing some math, I said, man, in the year 2000, I'm going to be 50 years old, a half a century. That's a long time. Gee, I was a young kid and still already thinking about age. But now, we don't want to be old, but it happens. Embrace it, Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. When I was growing up, looked at our elders. Men were handsome. The women were beautiful. They were gentle. They were loving, caring. Wasn't afraid of them. They needed help, we tried to help them. Did what we could. Reached out and helped them. Didn't ask if they needed help. You don't do that as a Tlingit. You just do it. It's like when you're asking them, can I help you, Nathan? And they'll say, oh, I can do it. But I would say, come on, Nathan. He's going, oh, yeah. There's a lot of things, and we can get carried away because there's a lot of things in our culture which makes us who we are. And that is what is displayed when we see a totem pole, when we see our blankets, when we see our staffs, when we see our vests, when we see our pendants. It's all about relation. It's about, and reason why I wanted to mention this, our atu here, which is a real atu, because of the shark cat there, Dennis. He brought it here. I would like him to just come over and hold it. He's a good friend of mine. Play basketball together. I don't know if he still plays, but I had a couple games already this month. This is a balance. His ancestral Wooshkeetans are here because this is brought out. Whenever we do a ceremony, you got to bring your atu. And I'm so happy I saw this blanket. I said, oh man, we're covered. Yeah, that'd be right. I guess he's. Yeah, what?
Yeah, well, okay, I forgot something.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one thing I forgot. And my Tlingit name is Yéil Yádi. And apparently that name was given to me by my mother's aunties, from what I understand. And what I thought, maybe that's just Yéil Yádi. But what I wanted to do was, on that totem pole, most totem poles that I've done, would you stand up? My wife, my other half, Dorica, and she is the one that does the painting. And so she has been a definite helpmate. And when I first met her in Anchorage, and then the other thing was I commissioned her when we saw each other on the ferry. I commissioned her to do my leggings. I haven't really asked her to do much more than that, but she ended up doing this Chilkat blanket for me. And so she's done 3 Chilkat blankets in her lifetime. I don't know what else she's going to end up doing. But to me, it's been more than just a wife, a helpmate, and she takes care of the money. I don't need to worry about that. She's my bank. So I want to say thank you for my wife.
These Raven stories that we've been listening to for how many decades? This is At'u of the Raven clan. So they're not cute stories. Austin Hammond says we governed our lives off of these stories. And my brother Nathan, Yéil Yádi, what does that mean?
Raven child.
What's your father's clan? What do you say when you say your father's clan? Kagwantan Yédi. But I was thinking about Raven Yéil Yádi. Oh, Raven is his own father. He's the name of the creator, Yéil. When he was getting the stars, the moon, the sun, and the daylight, when he's born as a child, they asked each other, what are we going to name this little child? Yéil Kawa. That's his name, Yéil Yádi. Creator's name. If you want to find out, this is through my research. And when you understand Tlingit, you even see more how, and I often wonder, why didn't they tell us about how these stories are Raven clan stories? Gunal Chish on Yatkusani, Gunal Chish, eyaa Iyatakhwalkanicha. Most honorable families who come from honorable families. It is good to look upon all your faces today. Thank you for listening to our clan today. Ewa, Gunalchish.
Gachgwena, Paul, my nephew Paul, Haku. In our culture, it is important that we maintain social and spiritual balance. so that the spirits don't go wandering aimlessly and cause ill will. We saw that we had the Sinedi thank the Wooshkeetan for their words. And it is only fitting that we eagles also thank the Sukakadi for bringing out their very valuable at'u. It is incumbent on us to maintain this spiritual balance, this social balance. And so my sister clan here has brought out their at'u. You know, we have agendas, and we don't always follow these agendas. And I remember one time when I was holding a workshop on Tlingit property law with our clan leaders, and I knew that they could talk and talk and talk. So I had this agenda with time. This is how long you're going to talk. And then I said, it's time for a break. And one of our clan leaders, Matthew Fred from Angoon, came up and said, Yadeklatsak, when a snowball is rolling down the hill, it gets bigger and bigger, it goes faster and faster. It gets bigger and bigger, and you don't stop it in the middle of the hill. And so that's what has happened today, that we have to acknowledge that the Sluka Khadi brought out their very valuable at'u. And it is like the spirits of our grandfathers are here. I could feel Danawak here. And I heard King Gaste said to me at Deklatzak, do not forget that we have to respond. We have to respond to their great words. We can't let those words go wandering aimlessly. And so we have brought out an eagle at'u, and they will talk. And then I've asked my nephew, where are you, my nephew? Paul, and also Gachguena to respond. Go ahead, you want to go first? Or you want to go last? Go ahead, Paul.
Kunilchish, Achishas, Lukwakadi, Lukwaksha, Stikatlain, Edi, Deshitan, Kiksadi, Daktentan, Luknakadi, Achlil Kohas, Achtla Litlakos, Kanachtedi, Tlakwasa Kunilchish, Yatu, Antaki Wadi, Chuaya, Uhanstu, Hatzach, Cheats which Anaweka Kwalshat, Yewech Twasigu, Yin Kahwanigi, Yewech Tuiti, Astakachuan, Eyaa, Kunilchish, stamp of approval, Yeotus and Kunilchisha.
Kunilchish, Akishas, Aktakank, my grandchildren, my precious grandchildren. It is good to be here and see everybody after 2 years of not being together. What Yadek Yasel was talking about today and in bringing out our at'u and acknowledging in this wuchiach, this spiritual balance, it is significant for the Wooshkeetan that this is not a small event. Our at'u is here to validate and for us to remember this significant event, this pole that has stood with us. And by bringing out these important at'u and by balancing it with the eagles and raven, it's a symbol about how important and how significant. It's not just objects We were calling on our ancestors. We're remembering these ancient connections that we have with each other. Cheesh.
Gunachish for the Sluthnakhade for bringing out your At'u. It's not me, Naked Claw, speaking to you, but all the other Tlingit, Wooshkeetan, whoever was, is, or ever will be, are here in spirit with you today. Yaanashtúk, Gudla'a, Tlaukot, Yaanastat, Shawat Kake, Dachtahun, Yaanastas. They're all here in spirit to hold you up. Gunachish.
Nathan, you ran away too soon. Hagu. Hagu.
We have a small token of our appreciation and brought gifts for Nathan. And some of them, because I happen to live in Ketchikan, we have in Ketchikan waiting. And some of our traditional foods, it's easier to keep it at home. But my Raven sister, Trixie Bennett, has made a gallon of pickled herring eggs waiting for you. Yes, and then we have it's a hand carry. You can take it right on the plane. A shark snack bag with all of your favorites. And we could get it to, yeah.
Why don't you show them?
Okay. We can hand it to Dorica. Oh, and by the way, they've been married for 48 years. Woo! And this is from the tree, and we know how beautiful cedar is, and our nature in this place. And one of my friends, also from Sanyaquan, Michelle Leduc, she was very humble. She thought, oh, it's going to be for Nathan, and so she was very worried. But I think she did a beautiful job, and it's the bear's bread. And so I think you might recognize him. I'll put this back in here. Hey, Gunachish.
I had my son when he was just growing up. He was a little guy. He went to Clover Pass, and one art project, he couldn't resist doing one of these, painting on this kind of bear, we call bear bread. And pretty interesting because he painted a killer whale on it. I thought, wow, that's pretty good. Then he painted the killer whale with blood running off the side of it. I thought, oh man, what did he do that for? And, but, you know, it's a good practice, and this type of material available kind of stirs up a little interest in painting. So I can really appreciate this little gift, and also I love fish. Thank you. Gunuchish.
Naomi, are you done? Okay. Alrighty. I would just like to just what was shared today was pretty awesome. That kind of takes care of the speakers, and we're going to do a little bit of song and dance, and so. Oh, sorry. I hope I didn't hurt anybody's ears. So the first song that I would like to, before I start this, the others can start moving forward, coming up, that we practice on Zoom meetings, and we practice in the car. So it's, we practiced last night, and I was so happy to hear that they did very, very well. So the first song that we're going to sing is the Yak Love song, and I'll give you the English version to it. And my son's standing back there, and he hasn't come up yet. So the first verse is, when I am dead, for this way I come back to this new way of living, the Dipper House children. The second verse is it true? Are you sincere? Are you going to die with your raven, the people of Hunaclan? I hope this is true, the feeling that you have. Okay, that's the first song. The second song we're going to sing is Juneau City. The first verse is, do you think it's only because of you? This Juneau City goes on and on. You must not know your mind. Second verse is, it's just like I have been drinking. You make me dizzy. You make my head spin when I think of you. So when we're done with these two songs, we're gonna, oh, they're over there. We're gonna do an entrance, and with these two songs, and then we'll do an exit. And when we're done, then I'll call for Florence to do a closing prayer. And by the time we're done doing these songs here, that cake over there looks very, very yummy. So I'm hungry, and I see a chocolate flavored and a white cake. So. So I would just like to say that thank you so much for being here, each and every one of you. It means a lot to the family and to friends. Gunakshish. Now I'm feel pretty happy now that the Wooshkeetan Totem has a home now. The other sister totem is down by the Juneau-Douglas High School. So now we don't have to worry about them anymore. They'll be safe, they'll be dry, and they'll be protected. Okay.
Trail song, they call it.
normally sing each verse twice, but I think I'm wore out. But I want to thank all of these families and friends that's up here dancing with us. And they surprised me so much last night that I was trying to take care of that lump I had in my throat because they sounded so well. So I'm very, very proud that they did their best. And Gunuk Cheesh for being here. And of course, my son over there thought he would get away with it, but I got him up here, so. So, Florence, would you come up, please?
Gunuk Cheesh, Anyat Kusani, Shao Daneki, Takasa Aktu Siku, Ya Akiko Has the Kunugo Akaye Hatwiti, Takasa Aktu Yake. Ako think Tlesky, Isako. Wooshkeetaan Kootéeyaa. I was saying some of you don't know how to speak Tlingit, so I'm going to speak in English. I would like to thank Nathan for mentioning my brother Jimmy Marks. They're probably watching us. All our ancestors are probably here watching us. What we're doing. I almost went back to Tlingit. All our ancestors, what we do, their spirits are in these things that we have, in the headdress he's holding, in the song staff that David Sam has, in the blankets that we wear. The spirits are in there. Our ancestor spirits. And for that, we should be proud to be wearing it, proud to be saying it. My mom used to say it's tough to be saying it. And I teach Tlingit in the schools to all the little ones. And they say, we know what you're talking about when you say it's tough to be Tlingit. Not only in our language, but also in our dance, our speech. Certain speeches have to be made at things like this. We have to, there I go again. Tlingit is my first language, so I always revert back to it. But my granddaughter, Rosita, thank you for the words that you said. It was wonderful. And everybody else that spoke, I appreciate the words that you did. And I'd like to thank Naomi for asking me to come and do the closing prayer. Because I'm Wooshkeetaan Jackson. I'm the grandchild of Wooshkeetaan. Okay, bow our heads. Gunuk Sati, Tsiyaiki Kosi Tutua at Gunuk Ya Yuditsne at the Kant Ya Yukosi at the Ko Hasaka Juneau-Douglas City Museum. Nisi Aditsuha in Centennial City. Takasi Yaanashtúk George Jim. Tataka iti dishi City Gunuk Dorica Yéil Yádi Nathan Jackson. Amen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're a tough crew. They want to do exit. This is the kind of fun we have so far, so I'm really enjoying this. And, you know, after not being able to sing for a few years because of what we had to deal with COVID, and, you know, it is so wonderful to see faces, smiles, because if you go to the store and someone says hi, you have to look to see who it is. But, you know, I love to give people hugs, and I'm able to do that again. So I'm feeling real good about that. So in the meantime, all of you take care. God bless each and every one of you. And we will see you tomorrow, next day. So take care, everyone. Lots of love to you. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? George, where'd you go? George wanted to do something. Where is he? One more thing that I forgot to do is I want to state special thanks to Nico. She's been such a sweetheart throughout this whole thing, and she worked hard. She went above and beyond. So here's Nico, and so what I did with what we've done so far, I got me another niece. She calls me Auntie. So I'm a happy camper there. Okay, George.
Koote Yachutz. Ade Gogade Gislagan Gilek. Here's a little song as friends are doing some gift giving. Hey ya, hey yo, hey, hey ya, hey ya, hi na, hey ya, hey yo, hey, hey ya, hey ya, hi na, hey ya, hey yo, hey, hey. Eyaa, hey, eyaa, na. Hey, ya, hey, oh, hey. Hey, eyaa, hey, eyaa, na. Nein, nas look, oh, let's go, really. Hey, eyaa, hey, eyaa, na. Dat nelnes na kaltan niche yau haina eya yo e he ya ya haina he ya yo e I know. Chend all evening naga es. Chend all Ning naga es. Hey, hey, ya, hey, ya, hi, na, ya, hey, ya, hi, na, ya, hey, yo, oh, go, hey, until the next time, until we meet again, until the next time, until we see each again. Hey, hey, ya, hey, ya, hi, na, hey, 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 ya, hi, na, hey, yo, now is not the only time. That's in Dig Hanag, Athabaskan. Dogadin. Shruga dreaded they. Denava ho, shruga dreaded they. Denangat no ho, shruga dreaded they. Denachanago ho, shruga dreaded they. Denayet oh hey ah hey hu hey iya hey ah hey hey ah g'day de hua hey ah hey all day de roi. We are grateful for our land. We are grateful for our foods. We are grateful for our languages. We are grateful for our way of life. Hey, oh, hey, hey, eyaa, hey, oh, hey, way. That's the way, yeah. Hey, oh, hey.